Okay, hi guys. Let's continue with the floating widgets chapter, and we'll add a few more details here to crisp it up, make it look cool. Okay, so we're going to create some interesting animations for these icons now, just to complement this effect within our scene and our project. So not only are we making it work, but we wanted to make it look good. So we'll touch on some things that involve the sequencer when we do the widget animation, and some things you should be familiar with at this stage. Okay, so it won't be too complicated in terms of animation, but it will involve some pretty cool concepts. So let's do that together. Let's access the widget and create some animations. So let's think about it. Which animations do we want? Well, we want the animation of the icon popping up. I don't want it simply just to appear. I want it to move as if it's jumping up and down on the screen, okay? So let's create a new animation. I'll call it icon show. So that's for when the icon is being shown, all right? And this is the one we're working on. So let's create a new track for it. And cool, so let's see what we can do. So we'll make this image jump up, and it will come from down here where it's hidden to the top. Okay, so I'll place it in this initial position, and then I'll animate the alignment. I think that's the easier way to work, but you can do it however you feel you like to. Initially, I'll set this to 0 as it will be hidden, and I'll create a keyframe for it in the track. Oh, I think I got it in the wrong place. I'll use it. Oh yeah, I'll do this. There we go. Cool. So look, we've got our slot canvas panel. And there we go. So each element here is nicely labeled for us. So this is what's going to occupy the icon. Okay. So we'll add here our layer data alignment. Okay. So that will help us, and we'll create an animation of 0.25 seconds. I'll place it here so it's a bit easier. Keyframe it, and I'll put 2 there and keyframe that as well. Okay, cool. So this is 0. Why is it not going? Okay, that's it. Great. So I've already created an animation of it sliding up. Okay, for those who like it, you can also use the curves as well, so it's like a smooth animation. Okay, that's an option for you. It already gave us our curves because we're using the automatic keyframe as opposed to linear. And you can adjust it here as well. So that's another way you could work if you want to do it that way. If you want to make it more sophisticated. But this is quite simple for us. It's enough for what we need. So light bulb is already popping up. However, I also want to create the effect as if it's popping down as well. So almost like it's on a spring, like a rebound effect, or like on a trampoline. Okay. So how do we do this? Well, there is something we could do. I'll create something here just to demonstrate what you could do. And it's all in the transform section. So we can play with the scale on the x-axis here. So how will we do that? Well, what we'll do is we'll be working with these values, okay? And just to add some movement. So there is the effect that we can do like this. Let's go back here. Let's get our transform. And we'll just work on the scale here. And okay, so as I said, we're going to be working with the x-axis. So the scale will be at 0 here to begin with, because I want it to spring up, don't I? As if it's like growing, like a plant popping up. Okay, so let's create a keyframe here, and then at 0.5, I want it to reach that height, and we'll adjust the scale. Use a scale of 1. Okay, it's already there. Cool. And that'll make it look, see there, as if it's popping up. Nice. So that's when it's in. I'll make it dangle so it looks a little bit more interesting. And I'll do that for about 0.35 seconds. and I'll use 1.5 as a value here, which is double. Okay, as if, you know, a little bit of movement there. Okay, cool. So that's already added the keyframe for us. And I put another one at 0.45 and then go back to 1. And then at 0.5, it should be in full effect. Okay, and let's adjust it to 1.25. And then on 0.55, which is going to be the end, I'll set it back to 1, its original state. Okay, so it's almost like it's popped up, then it's going boing, okay, and then it's settled back, okay. So there we go. You know, you don't have to add that boing effect if you don't want to, but you get the idea, don't you? It's a bit more interesting, right? Cool. So it's not just going to show up; it's going to actually animate as well. These little details make it more immersive for the character or the user. Nice. So there we go. So that's going to show our floating animation. Okay. You can add more different types of animations if you want to, a bit of swaying, whatever you want. Okay. Just so it's not stood still. So it's moving. Actually, let me show you what another feature actually. Let's go call this icon movements. Nice. Here's what we could do with this. Let's create a canvas. That's easier to do it that way. Add a track as well, and I'll work with layout data offsets. Okay, and there are these parameters of position and size that we can use. Okay, so these offsets will allow me to move from right to left, up and down. Okay, which are these positions here. So look, 0.0, 140. Okay, so I'll edit the y-axis and make it work or move as if it's swaying up and down. It's a simple animation, really. And we'll set this to 0.5 and then 0.25. Okay, cool. And then on 0.5, I'll go back to 0. 0.75, I'll go back to minus 0.5. And then on 1, it'll go back to 0. Okay, it'll be dangling again, right? Let's push play and just test it. You see that? In fact, actually, I think I've used the wrong values, haven't I? Sorry about that. So it's 0.5. It should actually be 5. And this 0 and this minus 5. Okay. All right. You see that? Little moves. Okay, so I need to activate this as a loop, don't I? So it repeats itself indefinitely. So I'll show the loop real quick so you can see the icon in motion. And then we can just test it. Okay, so we can set up a loop here, right? Just like that. I think it's might need to adjust the curve so it's not looking like it's stuck at the end. Let's adjust this curve because the last keyframe and the first one need to be almost linear so it looks like it's continuous. Okay, not that it's slowing down, starting up again. Okay, cool. So let's see how it looks. Okay, let's test it on the icon. That's better, isn't it? Nice. I like that. It looks good. You can't really tell it's looping. Nice. I'm happy with that. So that's all done. We just need to enable this now. So we've only created the animations for now. We need to make it actually work, don't we? We need to actually play the animations. So I'll go to the event graph. Okay, and let's think, when will we run it? Well, when it shows on event constructs. Okay, so here we'll only play the animation we've done in the other class. Okay, we'll show you how we do that. So I'll go to play. Cool, and we'll just do it like this. So it will play when the movement appears, when it's built. Good stuff. Cool. So play is here. Nice. What's next? So now we'll do the same thing for the icon movement. Okay, so let's bring that in. And we can copy this node because we want this to play as well. A little thing just to be aware of though on this, okay, is just one little bit of detail here. What do you think it is? Okay, we set this parameter to 1. Okay, so we only want it to play once. Oh, I forgot the wrong one. Okay, so yeah, let's swap this out. Okay, there we go. It's this one, isn't it? So this is the one that pops up. So it will only be played once. And this one is the one that we want to loop. Okay, so we'll keep that as 0. Nice. So if you type any amount here, it will play for that as many times as you want. Okay, but in our case, we've put it on loop. So that's what we want it to do. Nice. So that's that. Let's see it in practice. So let's compile, save, and play. I don't think I forgot anything. It should all be good. Okay, let's mouse over it. There we go. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Can you see that? Lovely animation. It just stays there dangling, doesn't it? And you can see the loop working nicely. Yeah, cool. Really like that. Nice. Now, of course, there's always more, isn't there? There's a way to make an animation play in reverse as well. So when you mouse over, it pops up, right? And when you unhover, it could play the animation in reverse, right? But I think it might be too much for this scene. Not entirely necessary, okay? But it is possible, okay? So our icon's moving up and down. And now we can put it wherever we want, can't we? So let's think about this. I'll open my lampshade blueprint and go to my viewport. So now we can take control. We'll have to do some tests with this, okay? So for instance, we can move it up a bit, press play, see if we like this position. Okay, there we go. So it's gone up a little bit. So it's doing exactly what we want it to do. Obviously, we might want to go a bit higher if you want it just above the lampshade. Okay. Just try and adjust it as best as possible. Okay, so now you can see that's too much. Like I say, trial and error, okay? Backwards and forwards. Let's test this one. Okay. We're getting there. We're getting there. Let's see this. Oh, maybe a tiny bit higher. But you get the idea, right? Just play around until you get it just as you need it to be. There's no way to guarantee it before we actually go in back and test it. But there we go. I like that. It looks like it's kind of almost appeared out of the lampshade, doesn't it? Maybe it's too much, actually. Let's put it here. Yeah, okay. I think that'll be enough for us. If we unhover, it goes away. If I aim at it again, it comes back. Nice. Okay. Cool. So there we go. It's a really good resource, isn't it, for ArcViz scenes? It really helps bring things to life. So it's definitely a good feature to include in your projects as well. And you can do this for many other blueprints. You can use the same method, even the same icon on other lights, can't you? Okay, because it's only an image. So this image will represent lights. So we can make this interactive button work on other meshes that require lights. Okay, so for example, if you wanted to add it on the chandelier, we can do. Let's do that right now, actually, just so you can see how it should be done. So here we just have to go into our blueprint here because we've got our lamp set up already, haven't we? Okay, remember from our previous class. So I'll leave it as it is, but I'll just include our widget. Okay, and the good thing is that it really helps us to incorporate everything we learned in the previous chapters. So let's add the widget light, select screen here, and I'll also direct it to my widget as well. Okay, widget light ArcViz. That one is what we chose. Cool, and I'll create the billboard just so we can have a reference to it in our scene. Just attach it in place. Cool. Nice. Okay. So I'll add the logo as well, so we're consistent with how we set everything else up. We don't want dinosaurs, do we? Let's replace a dinosaur. Okay, so our logo's there. We can just reposition it if we want to. We'll adjust it in the scene as we'll use the scene to adjust it if we need to. So next we just need to enable it. Let's do that. So all the work in the ArcViz side of things is done, and once we've done one blueprint, it makes it a lot easier, doesn't it, to start adding the feature to other meshes. Like we can just add the interface just like that. Okay, now we need to enable it in the event graph. Since that everything else is done, I can adapt a few things, so we don't have to do it all over again. So let's do that. I'll just copy these first. Don't want to miss anything. Okay, and put that there. I'll delete this to make sure we have the same variable. Okay, because these variables would be, yeah, we don't want to confuse things. I'll create a new one so we don't get lost as well or confused. Sometimes even if you have the same variable or the same variable name, it doesn't work. So I recommend that specifically like things like these, promote it to a new variable and just rename it. Okay, so we created the same structure. All right, so we've got a light on and off. We can set that to the side. Okay, and I'll just leave that there, and I'll copy the bottom section of the blueprint for our widget. Okay, and every time you copy, you should remember to compile just to make sure nothing's missing and it's all working. Always good to get that green tick. Okay, sometimes you might find you get problems when you're redoing the variables because you spent many hours working on it. You try to find the errors, and you get into so many, especially when you're working on it for a long time. It's important to pay attention because you can easily make mistakes if you are not doing so. Okay, so especially if you don't have to create it from scratch, you can become a bit lazy. But just keep on the ball, keep compiling, keep saving, and look for that green tick on compile. So we're good to go. So here's the widget for the lights. That's good. The animation is this part, isn't it? Let's name that for icon animation. Okay, and this is the same widget. So here I'm on my dining table level, the light of the dining area. So look here. Okay, so it's popping up. You can see that just about, can't we? Maybe it's too low, so we can adjust its position. Okay, this could be the center. Just so you know, it's going to be around here. Okay, so I know it's not perfect, but it just takes a bit of adjusting. All right, always keep going backwards and forwards to test it out. So the icon, because it's white and on a white background, it's a little difficult to see from certain angles, but other angles it's fine. Okay, let's just bring it down a bit. Let's see if it's working. Nice. So the interaction works. Pretty cool, right? Because most of the work was already done. Okay, nice. So these widgets with the images, although they're not buttons, we can reuse them, can't we? You can just look for where else have I got a light that I need to use and reuse them. Cool. So yeah, make one well, and then just copy it across on the different meshes that you have. Okay, nice. All right, everyone. So this is what we wanted to show you in this class. A really useful widget resource there. A little different, but I'm sure you'll see much use of this in your projects. Okay, and it's a really nice way to keep our scene immersive and interactive. Really cool. Okay, so that's it for this class. So this chapter is over as well. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.